up, guys? Sunday fun day here at Wolf Watch Club. I am your host, Jory Goodman, the time teller here for Wolf Watch Club, and we actually have a very, very exciting competition today. Check it out, a Rolex Submariner, but not just any Submariner. This is a sub no date. We're going to talk about the significance historically and orologically, and just how this has this singular watch has really affected collectors as a whole. And then, of course, King Seiko. Now, I know what you're thinking, like Rolex, Submariner, flagship, whatever. We've heard this before. No, the sub no date is actually much more than just any Submariner within the Rolex catalog. And then when you read the name Seiko, you think, oh well, you know, Seiko, they're affordable watches. What's the big deal, right? It's actually very, very significant. Just the name itself, King Seiko. This isn't just a arbitrary, fancy schmancy title that they've given a Japanese watch. Shout out to the chat. We have Scramble North, who actually I do believe is first. But we are going to go over both of these watches in detail, and of course, this is a competition, so we are going to be paying attention to that ticker as it counts down. But guys, in the chat, we are going to wait for more people to show up, of course. But Scramble North, since you're here and since you're commenting, let me know what you guys are wearing. I'm going to be checking in with each and every one of you and do little wrist checks along the way. This is something that I do over on my channel. It's just a fun little thing to interact with all of the other collectors. There's no right or wrong answer. You don't need to feel weird. Oh, I'm not wearing an expensive watch. Oh, I'm wearing a watch that is Asian made. Oh, I'm not wearing a Swiss watch. It doesn't matter. We're all watch collectors. We're all having a fun time. I am wearing an Asian watch from RZE. Let's get a close-up of this. This is a titanium digital watch that over on the Time Teller channel, I'm going to go ahead and do a review on this very, very soon. I wanted to have a few more hours with it under the belt, but I do truly think, just as a little heads up, this is definitely going to put a hurting on the DW, the 5000 series of G-Shock. It's titanium. It's very, very cool. And yes, it is digital. But let me know in the chat. We have Scramble North wearing a Fostner Comfit. Jeff is here. Jeff Manicotti wearing a Pelagos FXD MN. Very, very cool. That is the military with the fixed lugs. Bradford Steele, the pastor of disaster, is here. Mr. Magoo, very cool name. Afternoon, he says. Matt Moss is here. Fingers crossed. Best of luck to everyone. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about King Seiko, the watch that is over on the right of the screen. You can see it kind of looks vintage in its aesthetic. It's not really one of these, newer dialed Seikos with a bunch of crazy texturing and this and that. But why is it so dang important and so dang significant? Well, for that, we kind of have to put a table up, a column of two, if you will. And by the way, guys, as I'm blathering on talking about this King Seiko, we do need to pay attention to the ticker as it's counting down on both of these watches. And the percentages, we can see 82% sold on the King Seiko and 94% on the sub. That's absolutely crazy. Mike K wearing a helm of Vanuatu. Guillermo is here wearing a Seagull Ocean series. Studio Daniel Boyce is wearing a Christopher Wold desk diver. I love Chris Ward, you already know. Bradford Steele says, I went from porn star to pastor of disaster. Hey man, I remember last what was it, 2 weeks ago, you mentioned that you were a pastor, so I was like, oh, I need to be a little bit more respectful for a man of the cloth. But God bless you, brother. Okay, So if you see me looking down, it's because I actually made notes. Now, for my viewers, people that have watched the Time Teller channel, you'll know that I actually made a video talking about this, like, historical significance of King Seiko. So I went back in time and I actually like looked at my notes, and this is a very significant, or I should say relevant, piece of information for today's live stream. So when we're talking about Seiko as a company, right, it's much larger than people think. All right. And Seiko goes way back, right? That I think that's obvious. But this is where the names get partitioned and delineated, and I think you at home might be surprised. Okay, we have Time Is Now wearing a Vair DS2 Meridian, and we have Wham! Watches wearing a Zulu Time. Very cool. Guys, as you show up, keep commenting on your wrist watches. We're doing wrist checks in the chat. Okay, so the big name, overarching, think of it like an umbrella, Seiko. We already know that, right? But what about Grand Seiko? Because we know that that is a very prominent, hoity-toity, high-end, innovative brand, like kind of the peak for the Seiko brand. Now, technically, Seiko itself owns an even more expensive, more exclusive brand called Creeder, but Creeder doesn't have Seiko in the name anywhere, so we're not really going to be talking about that. James is wearing an SKX, speaking of Seiko. So Grand Seiko was launched in 1960 by the Suwa Sakosha factory, okay? Because Seiko had numerous factories at this time. Different things happened in the past, because I don't know if you know, there were some kind of significant things that happened in Japan around the 1930s and 40s, like World War II, and a couple bombs that got dropped and everything. So things got moved around. But we're not going to do a history lesson on this isn't a social studies class, guys. We're talking orology. So the Suwa Sakosha plant was tasked with making higher end watches. They wanted that from the jump, okay, when Seiko decided they wanted that plant. But then there was King Seiko, which came up a year after, in 1961, and it was the Daini Sakosha. So they're both Sakosha factories. One was Suwa, which was Grand Seiko. One was Daini, which was King Seiko. And this was actually pretty interesting, because the people at Seiko were like, we don't want to compete with other brands if we don't have to. Why don't we install two different plants of our own and have them compete against each other? That way, the innovation stays in the family, right? So it's like, yeah, okay, we hear rumblings of Casio, we hear rumblings of Citizen. I'm just naming other Japanese brands, right? This is all theoretical. But the people at Seiko were like, look, there are other watchmakers, other people that are going to be producing watches in this space. Instead of competing with them where we don't know what they are going to produce, we can establish two factories, give them each incentives to make a better product, and they will compete internally. It's very, very, very interesting. So, we obviously started seeing the inception of higher beat movements within the Seiko brand as a whole. Of course, we saw high beats with King Seiko and Grand Seiko. But with the accuracy, with things like the VFA, very fine accuracy, and things like that, that came out of the Suwa Sakosha plant, which was Grand Seiko. But then, so, okay, of course we have the spring drive and everything else. That happened much, much later. The development of that started actually in the late 70s, essentially, in the Suwa Sakosha plant. But this is what's very, very interesting, okay? King Seiko was actually... Okay, I want to get the notes down, because this isn't an edited episode of mine, so I want to lay this out cleanly so it doesn't confuse any of you guys. King Seiko would compete annually in the Japanese and Swiss essentially chronometry trials, right? Grand Seiko also did that and dominated. And that was pretty much the reason why the Suwa Sakosha plant ended up winning in the end. Okay? So it's not that Grand Seiko was always supremely better than King Seiko. If you go to like the Time Teller shop and you go to the watches that we've sold, I've sold a bunch of vintage King Seikos and Grand Seikos. But the Grand Seikos, right, and the King Seikos competed in the Swiss chronometer trials, and Grand Seiko won out, right? And that's essentially what made Grand Seiko rise to the prominence with the Suwa Sakosha factory, and then King Seiko dissolved. Now, the Daini Sakosha factory still lived on. And here's where we come to today, okay? I know this is kind of a dense history lesson, but it's really, really cool. Because the Suwa Sakosha factory not only brought up Grand Seiko, but that's what turned into Seiko Epson Corporation. That's the overarching, like, overlord. But whatever happened to the Daini Sakosha factory? Because King Seiko went away for a while until around 2021 it came back. Well, that's what Seiko Instruments Incorporated showed up. SII. Why is that very, very, very significant for watchmakers as a whole? Well, without King Seiko and the Daini Sakosha factory and SII, we would not have movements like the NH35 and every other NH variant. It would not exist. So I know that this is kind of nerd speak, and this was kind of dense. Like, every other live stream we have here on Wolf Watch Club every Sunday is kind of like very fun and wonky. This, like, I geek out about, okay? Because I'm an actual nerd of this hobby. And, like, literally, without King Seiko's prominence, we would not have things like the NH series of movements, which is huge, which is absolutely huge for not just, Seiko watches, but literally every micro brand. Like, without the Daini Sakosha factory, micro brands as a whole, like, would not exist as they do right now. It's crazy. So that's like my little spiel on that whole thing. And I think that it's really, 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 really awesome that, again, around 2021, Seiko as a whole decided, like, okay, there's Grand Seiko that we're moving up like bigly. They're moving up in the price range. What are we going to do to fill, like, where Grand Seiko used to be? And that's when they decided to bring back the King Seiko name, and that's why we have this, which actually looks like one of the old school King Seikos from the Daini factory, which is awesome. So this is very significant. Again, this is like a big piece of Seiko history. Without these King Seikos, I think modern watchmaking as a whole would not be where it is, because the prominence of affordable, accurate workhorse movements really came with that NH series, and you can't convince me otherwise. Like, I'm sorry. People are going to point out, oh, well, ETA did a bunch of things, the Solid SW201s. Yeah, those Swiss workhorses would have still been around for sure. They would have been developed and they would have been proliferated. But you can't tell me that, like, a good NH series movement is not just as durable, just as accurate pretty much, and way less expensive than even a Solida. It is what it is. They all have their own place, but definitely, King Seiko, they did a lot for watchmaking as a whole. And again, as sad as it is that it got dissolved, I think in 1975, it is cool that they got brought back and the watch world can, a new class of watch collectors can appreciate that name again. So anyway, that's my little spiel on King Seiko. Now we have to talk about the other stunner in the room here, and I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about the Rolex Submariner, but not just any Submariner. I'm talking about the Sub No Date. Now, say what you will about Rolex fanboys. People say that Rolexes are for casuals and the Submariner is just a watch for people that don't know about watches. I think that's the dumbest statement ever. I think a lot of people can appreciate a lot of different watches for their own way, and for their own ways and reasons, I should say. But yes, I understand. The Submariner is the archetype of the modern watch, right? Like, when people think watch, they think Rolex. And when they think Rolex, they probably think Submariner, because that's just what has the largest brand equity in the market. It is what it is. People that don't even wear watches know what that watch looks like, right? People, Scramble North, are they both going today? Yeah. The Submariner and the King Seiko are both going today. If you look at the ticker on screen, there's 14 minutes and some change, actually. But why am I like talking about the subs so heavily right now? Well, it's because I think the Submariner, like, people don't realize that 99% of the subs that you see are the Submariner dates, right? A lot of people don't like the Cyclops, whatever. I like it. I actually think the date complication, like, if you need a complication on your watch, I think the date complication is probably, honestly, one of the most useful complications you can have. But why is the no date so, I don't know, coveted within the watch world? Well, it's very coveted within the watch world because it has its own freaky cult following. And I think I figured out why. Okay. First of all, the first Submariner ever, guess what, did not have a date. Wild. People still don't know that. And it's crazy, but I understand. It's because 99% of the Submariners you see now have the big old Cyclops and the date over at the 3 o'clock. I get it. But, again, the first ever Submariner did not have a date. That's number one. Number two, the Mil Sub. You guys know the military spec Submariner that Rolex actually made for the military? No date. Absolutely no date. And the reason why is because if you're being... First of all, a complication is just another thing to potentially break. I get that. It's another, potential weak point. It's another component in the movement, blah, blah, blah. But, like, I think that when you're being sent out to, like, go on a mission or whatever, like, you don't need to know the date because you're being told where to go, what to do, and at what time to do it. So, I understand. But I do truly believe that for purists out there and for people that are like orological nerds like I am, having the cleanliness and the understanding that this is literally what the original Submariner looked like as far as the dial goes, I think that's very special. Obviously, the original Submariner was not as thick and it didn't have crown guards and blah, blah, blah. But I think that this is really, 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 really cool. Another interesting thing, this is a little bit of trivia. Man, I'm giving you guys all the time teller trivia that you guys can take to your next watch club meeting. And you can impress people. The first Rolex sub came out, I think, in like 1969. And by that point, the Rolex Submariner, again, came out in like 1953. So, like, it's been around for a while before a date complication was even spoken about on that watch. But, insane. Dominic... What watch is you wearing today? Again, guys, keep commenting your watches. I'm wearing a RZE. This really, really cool titanium digital review coming on the Time Teller channel very, very soon. Gabriel Cruz is in the house. G Cruz, what's going on? He's a moderator on the channel because I can see that on my end, and he puts out some damn good content over at wolfwatchclub.com. Now, speaking of wolfwatchclub.com. Let's go ahead and refresh the page. 97% over on the Submariner, guys, and 86 on the King Seiko. These two watches, it's actually really, really funny because, in my opinion, I've seen a lot of like watches come and go here on Wolf Watch Club's website. Obviously, I do the Sunday streams, but as far as like orologically significant from a watchmaking standpoint, these two watches and their pairing together, I really think that this might be the most like historically important pairing of watches that Wolf Watch Club has done. And that just goes to show that these dudes, I don't pick the watches that get chosen for these competitions. It just goes to show you that like the Wolf Pack, they're a bunch of nerds also that geek out about these things. So I think it's awesome because, again, we would not have modern watchmaking and definitely the entire micro brand segment would be gone without the King Seiko factory. And then we would not, if there were no Rolex Submariner no dates, the Submariner would not exist because the original Submariner did not have a date, and it didn't have a date until like 1969. So so both incredibly important watches. But as we go further into the Wolf Watch Club website, by the way, link in the description below, we look at some of the winners, and it's funny because when we see and we scroll through these people, gosh, man, competition number 25, the numbers just keep going up, dude. It feels like just yesterday that I was here. We got some howling in the chat. Ow! This is actually really funny if I can just, as an aside here. Wolf Watch Club had to start watermarking their winner images because some dum-dums over in, the interwebs, they see what Wolf Watch Club's doing, and they're like, dang, we want to get a piece of that. And they try to fake it online. But guess what? There's only one Wolf Watch Club. And if you see some other idiot doing live streams on Sundays with a fake beard and a shaved head, it ain't me. There's only one time teller, and there's only one Wolf Watch Club. But yeah, you see these handsome devils here and these really cool watches that they've won with the watermarked images. It sucks you got to do that, people not providing value to the market by themselves, so they have to fake it and try to do their they don't come up with their own thing, so they have to copy someone else. It's such BS. But you might be wondering, like, how did these guys win, right? What did they do? Well, the truth is, not a lot of these guys threw a ton of money at the competitions. In fact, I think one of the last winners last week, and for the last couple weeks, people have won with like 1 or 2 tickets like in the last few minutes. So as I always say, and again, this is to the chagrin of Wolf Watch Club, it takes one to take the whole thing. Of course, they'd like me to say, guys, come here, throw a bunch of money at this, buy a ton of tickets, just blah, blah, blah. The truth is, like, do what you want, right? I'm just the master of ceremonies here. I'm just here to kind of put upon you my ramblings of the inner working movement of my mind, reflecting the whole watch market as a whole. But just as an aside, right? From where I see it, sitting here in my office, each week after week, it just takes one to take it. And we've been seeing that more and more, which is so funny. But yeah, guys, 6 minutes to go. And you have 2 incredible watches here. Again, a sub no date and a King Seiko. Both incredible watches. And one thing that I absolutely love, we don't really need to talk about the Oyster bracelet on the Submariner because obviously everyone knows Submariner, Oyster bracelet, Oyster case goes hand in hand. Lenny Lamb says the Coyote Clock Club. That's actually really funny. On April Fool's Day, Wolf Watch Club, you should do a landing page of the Coyote Clock Club. That's really funny. But what's really cool is on the King Seiko, this actually has one of like the vintage King Seiko's King Seiko bracelets, like those old school bracelets. But I've worn one of these, and it's not a hair puller, which is good. And obviously, an oyster bracelet is not a hair puller, and both incredibly comfortable. I would argue that the oyster bracelet on the sub is probably one of the most comfortable bracelets ever developed. But it's a factor for me because I am a weirdo, and I'm like you want to talk about Wolf Watch Club, I'm like a werewolf. I'm so hairy. So that's why in my reviews over on the Time Teller channel, I actually have to judge watches based upon if they are hair pullers or not. Wolf Watch Club says, guys, don't forget to subscribe. Let's reach 300 subs this month. Guys, can we get a round of applause for the Wolf Watch Club channel for hitting 200 subscribers? That's a pretty big deal. Guys, 99% on the Submariner. Go ahead and check that out. Click the link if you want to learn more, or if you want to join the competition. Guys, round of applause for Wolf Watch Club. That's not an easy feat, getting into the hundreds. And I know because I've been grinding on YouTube for like the better part of a decade over on my personal channels. Guys, 3 minutes and some change. Very, very cool. Both incredible watches. In the chat, we have Sean Miller waving. What I want to know, okay, is what would you like to see in the future here on Wolf Watch Club? Because if there's one incredible thing that I know, it's that Wolf Watch Club pays attention to you guys. You can see they're active in the chat, and it's not me writing to you guys. It's the Wolves over on their account writing to you guys. So I'm just here streaming. But they actually care about what you guys have to say. And it's really cool because for the people that showed up for like the earlier streams when I was doing these streams over on the Time Teller channel, and then we pushed it over here, you can see the website has changed, and it's I think have gotten a lot better as time has gone on. And I think it's really cool because all of the things that they've decided to change and not just maintain but make better and more user-friendly for you guys, and more palatable, and just like a better presentation. They got all these pointers and all these tips listening to you, the community, the Wolf Pack. So if it comes down to something that you'd like to see on the site itself, or it comes down to, watches that you'd like to see in the future, I know for a fact, as a content creator myself, the number one most valuable thing is the input of the prospective, consumers and the people in the community. So please sound off in the chat and let Wolf Watch Club know what you'd like to see in the future. Man, 99% on the sub, 87 on the King Seiko. That is insane. That is wild. So as the ticker goes down, I do need to let you know because, again, these types of competitions are very heavily regulated just in general, but YouTube also has their own rules when it comes to talking about these kinds of things. So I do legally need to tell you that I, the host, do not have anything to do with choosing the winners. I do not have anything to do with picking any of you guys. I do not have any favorites. Well, I personally do, but because I would just be choosing myself. Let's be honest. But I don't even play the game, and they don't either. Wolf Watch Club does not choose any of you guys. It is all done via randomdraws.com. Fully randomized, legit site, third party, so none of us have anything to do with choosing you guys. Refreshing, the Submariner is 100% sold out, guys. Thank you for showing up. And for the sub, looks like a lot of you guys are part of that no sub cult. That's insane. That's insane. That's insane. Wolf Watch Club, less than 2 minutes to show some love for the King Seiko. Yeah, so here's the crazy thing. King Seiko, again, I literally do not think that the watch market as a whole would be what it was without the Daini Seikosha factory, which is the factory that produced King Seiko. It just is what it is. And so to have a piece of this history, again, it got brought back in 2021, which is what we're looking at here. It's just unheard of, right? You have two incredibly orologically significant watches here today. Thank you for joining me on my history lesson. I know it was a little bit dense this week because I am an absolute nerd when it comes to these things, and it is how it is. But both competitions are over. Submariner, no date, sold out. A lot of people showed up for that King Seiko. We're going to see who gets what. Very, very cool. All right, so the way this works, of course, we go to randomdraws.com. I pick the draw name. We're actually going to do the King Seiko first, okay? While I'm inputting that, I wait for what's called a CSV file from Wolf Watch Club, which has all the entries automatically. When the website ticker stops, the entries get put in a nice little file for you guys. So we're going to put King Seiko here. Organization, of course, Wolf Watch Club. Bada bing, bada boom. It's a standard draw. They're going to let me know when the file shows up. So I click this button and I put the file in. And Wolf Watch Club's going to let me know when that shows up. Let me go ahead and get my email ready for y'all. Fingers crossed, guys. Can we get some fingers crossed in the chat, please? While I do this. This is kind of the admin stuff. That's a little bit, I know, a little boring here. Oh, I was like, what am I doing again? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Remember when, hey guys, shout out. Remember when Wolf Watch Club doxed me? In front of all of you guys? Shout out to getting doxed live. I'm joking, but seriously. Okay, so here's the CSV file. I picked that this is an entry row. We continue. All right, so this is where we put the prize, okay? So, of course, one of you guys is getting the King Seiko. But that's not where we stop. Because Wolf Watch Club, not only do they have the coolest watches, not only do they have the coolest hosts, this guy, they also give back, okay? So they are doing runners up for all of you people like that have played. It's not just the winner of the watches. It is also giving back to the community because they actually care about who is helping them to make these competitions exist, which is you at home. Keep the fingers crossed in the chat. Okay, cool. So I don't want to give anything away, so I'm going to go ahead and shift my screen here, but I'm going to put down what else people win because it is very cool. It is very, very cool. One sec. Let me just double check my work to make sure that I didn't mess up anything. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, cool. So, all right. Check it out, guys. This draw immediately. Let's keep the fingers crossed happening in the chat. What do I always do? Oh, I hate that it does this. It is so stupid that it does this. It kicks me out sometimes if it takes too long to do the draw. Yeah. One second, guys. So dumb. I hate that Wolf Watch Club does this. And then I have to pick every image that has a car in it. Blah, blah, blah. So stupid. Okay, cool. It actually did it first try for me. It's loading. It's loading. Fingers crossed, guys. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Okay. So, here are the entries. When I click this button, Ian is saying, Jory, draw my name. Dude, I can't pick anybody. When I hit this button, The spreadsheet gets sent to random draws, and we see all the ones and zeros, beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, and we will see who wins. Now, I'm going to pull the name back so you guys don't see who won. If you guys can guess who the winner of the King Seiko is before I say it, email me, info@thetimetellershop.com. I might send you some cool time teller gear. All right, here we go. Oh! I was a little slow that round. I was a little slow. Okay, so runners up for $5 credit at wolfwatchclub.com. Okay, Mark Martin. Hey, a familiar face. I can already see. Mark Martin, congratulations for the $5 credit over at wolfwatchclub.com. Another familiar face, James Shanahan. $5 credit at wolfwatchclub.com. Kevin Jung, congratulations for for a $5 credit at wolfwatchclub.com. Mark Martin again, congratulations for another $5 credit at wolfwatchclub.com. Scott Farnan, congratulations, $5 credit at wolfwatchclub.com. Bradford Steele, the pastor of disaster, God bless you, my friend, you've won a $5 credit at wolfwatchclub.com. And Kevin Jung again, another $5 credit at wolfwatchclub.com. Now, moving on to third place and second place. For $11 credits at wolfwatchclub.com. I'm not going to show you the screen, F80, because then you guys will see who won the watch. We have to kind of spread out the excitement a little bit. Eric Schneider, you have won $11 at wolfwatchclub.com. And Juan Lopez for $11 credit at wolfwatchclub.com. That is yours, going your way. Congratulations. And the winner is, drumroll please, for the King Seiko, one of the coolest, most orologically significant watches I think that I've pretty much ever seen here at wolfwatchclub.com. Eric Schneider, you are going home with easily one of my favorite watches that Wolf Watch Club has given away. Congratulations. You are, again, let's see, you've actually won, yeah, you won $11 credit and you won a watch. So that's really, really cool. Use those credits on future Wolf Watch Club competitions. Congratulations. You don't even have to do anything because Wolf Watch Club will get a hold of you automatically. Now, we are going to go ahead and see who is taking home that sub no date. And Gabriel is in the chat. Gabriel Cruz, who knows, maybe he'll get in touch with you and you guys can chat and we can see some cool content with you guys talking, because Gabe does some really cool Wolf Pack interviews that I absolutely love watching, because again, sometimes, some weeks, I get to talk to some of you winners out there, but hearing Gabe really sit down and talk to you guys is a whole lot of fun. Congratulations, Eric. Wolf Watch Club in the chat letting us know that Eric is actually a very consistent player at wolfwatchclub.com. But again, guys, it takes one to take it. Takes one to take it all, which is very, very cool. So, draw name. We're going to do sub no date. I'll actually show you guys my screen here. So, we're going to do sub no date. Of course, Wolf Watch Club. They already sent me the other file, by the way. So, I already have the file. I'm going to hide my screen so you guys don't see. Because I know, dude, if people are going to copy the Wolf Watch Club website, I know people are going to copy some ideas for time teller videos that I have here. I'm not allowing that. Okay, I'm not going to allow that. Okay, this is a had it row, blah blah blah. Okay, so this is where, again, I put in this is for the sub no date. I was almost going to put the Seiko again. People are going to be like, what? Eric already won the Seiko. Not just any Seiko, King Seiko, by the way. So we're going to put sub no date. And then, of course, because this is Wolf Watch Club, they are doing runners up. Sorry, they're doing runners up for you guys as well. Awesome. Okay, cool. I just need to make sure that I'm getting the denominator because I do not want to mess it up. All right, so let's get some more fingers crossed. Dominic says, can I win with 4 tickets? You can absolutely win with 4 tickets because I've seen people win with 1 ticket purchased at the last second. So it is not, I mean, it is a numbers game and it isn't a numbers game at the same time, but it takes 1 to take it all. So you guys, come on. You guys did a great job showing out this week because it's insane seeing the percentage sold is absolutely nuts. Congratulations to all you guys. Okie dokie. Very exciting, very exciting, very exciting. Showing you my screen now. We got some people, Matt Becker, Kevin Jung, Featherweight, Lucky, Matt Moss, everyone doing fingers crossed in the chat. Dominic is saying manifesting. Bradford Steele is saying I am the credit king. All right, guys. Asada says, I buy 1 and I daydream all week. Spurgeon is here. Spurgeon, I miss you, man. We spoke like 4 weeks ago. Very cool dude. All right. And he's a big sub guy. So I know that Spurgeon probably put his entry credits towards this. Learning to fly, Nighthawk Enforcer. Okay, same thing goes, guys. If you guys can guess the name and comment it before I do, before I pull the screen back, let's see. One day I'm going to miss the button, okay? And one of you might win, but that day is not today. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, dude, I'm slow today. I am slow today. That is insane. That is insane. Okay, we have a bunch of runners up today, guys. This is for $10 credits at wolfwatchclub.com because, again, Wolf Watch Club gives back to the Wolf Pack. Very, very cool. All right. Lau Mengre from Singapore. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering your guys' name. No one ever accused me of being intelligent. Lau Mengre, you have a $10 credit at wolfwatchclub.com. Asada says, I saw it. I'm keeping it a secret. I believe you, bro. Chris, oh my God, Nicolaj, from the US. You have a very cool name. You have a $10 credit from wolfwatchclub.com. Alexander Chavez, you have a $10 credit at wolfwatchclub.com. Lars Townsend, that's a familiar name, actually. I think I've read it in the chat before. You have a $10 credit. Mark Melton, that's so funny. It's like Mark Martin's alter ego, Mark Melton. And it's even spelt M-A-R-C. You have a $10 credit. Orlando Lanes, or Orlando Yanes. It's a double L, so I don't know. I'll say Orlando Yanes. Oh, wait. Orlando Yanes. We'll say it like that. You have a $10 credit at wolfwatchclub.com. David Finlay, you have a $10 credit at wolfwatchclub.com. Louis Jordan, you have a $10 credit at wolfwatchclub.com. Nicandro Rosny from Luxembourg, you have a $10 credit at wolfwatchclub.com. Lars Townsend again, $10 credit at wolfwatchclub.com. Ahmed Osman, you have a $10 credit at wolfwatchclub.com. Kwame Michael, you have a Wolfwatch Club a $10 credit at wolfwatchclub.com. Sorry, it's a tongue twister, even though I'm just saying it over and over again. James Bettig, you have a $10 credit at wolfwatchclub.com. Matt Keeler, you have a $10 credit at wolfwatchclub.com. Frank Buoni, I'm so sorry I'm messing it up. You have a $10 credit at wolfwatchclub.com. And Dr. Bakista, Carrie Bakista, former winner, former Wolf Watch Club watch winner. You've won a $10 credit at wolfwatchclub.com. And Efrain Perez, you have a $10 credit at wolfwatchclub.com. Okay, now we are at the third and second place tier for $15 credits at wolfwatchclub.com. Excuse me, Matt Moss. Congratulations, you're going home with a $15 credit at wolfwatchclub.com. And Brian Randazzo, you have a $10 credit, or excuse me, $15 credit at wolfwatchclub.com. Man, I am butchering this. Okay, drum roll, please. Drum roll, please. Who's taking home that sub no date? Bada bing, bada boom! John Brillhart. I think F80 actually commented it. Dude, F80 actually beat me this week? No way. No way. John Brillhart from the US of A. You have won a Submariner. No date. One of the most, honestly, cult followed Rolexes ever. John, I don't know if you're in the chat, John Brillhart, but you freaking crushed it. Congratulations. Ian is mad that he didn't win. Sorry, Ian. But I don't know. Go play in the woods in Arkansas or something. I know because you live in Arkansas. Because Ian, I think I know that, Ian. In fact, I know that, Ian. So, too bad. I'm joking. Congrats, everybody. And we have some awesome news from wolfwatchclub.com. I am so excited about this. I am so very excited when we go over to wolfwatchclub.com. Boom! We have 2 more of my favorite watches. Why? Well, because I own one of them. A Santos de Cartier. This is, probably when we're talking about horologically significant watches. We spoke about movements and their effect on the watch industry and blah 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 blah. The issue is, with the Santos Dumont and things like that, there would be 000 wristwatch as we know it without Cartier. Cartier Santos. That is the wristwatch, right? Obviously, this is the most modern iteration of it, but easily a favorite of mine. So cool. My dad has a Cartier Santos, so I absolutely love that. And let's go ahead and refresh the page again because there we go. Cool. We have an XB2, guys. So cool. So cool. I own an Explorer 2. Now, I own the 16570, which is the 40 mil case, but this is the 42. So cool, guys, and polar at that. So, I've never seen it before here on wolfwatchclub.com, but we have 2 white dial watches at the same time. Comment in the chat below if there was another time that I am just forgetting. But for the first time that I can recall, 2 white dial watches in the running, really. So don't sleep on this, guys, because guess what? The Cartier Santos is incredibly expensive. Let's just face it. It's incredibly expensive. And then the Polar, the XP2, not only is it expensive, you may not be able to find one at an AD because that is actually considered a waitlist watch. But anyway, this is nuts. This is absolutely nuts. So, good luck to everyone playing. I absolutely love both of these watches. Again, my dad has a Santos. I have an XB2. If you haven't seen the review on the XB2s, go ahead and check out the Time Teller channel. And I'll probably be doing a bunch of historical updates on these, probably over on the on the Time Teller channel, maybe here on Wolf Watch Club. But guys, I know for a fact Wolf Watch Club values your input. So in the chat, even if you're watching this from the future, hello, we see you and we love you. Comment, let us know that you're here. Give us a nice ow in the chat, and I will see you same time, same place next week. All right, guys, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay blessed. This is Jory Goodman from the Time Teller channel over here on Wolf Watch Club saying we love you. All right, guys. Goodbye. Take care.